Good afternoon everyone and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, let's do a walk around and tour of the new 2025 Ford Bronco. The Ford Bronco does get some welcome changes for the 2025 model year, and they are as follows. You will now get a updated 12-inch infotainment screen, which hasn't really changed from last year. You do get a new 12.3-inch instrument cluster, which is very nice. However, there are a few changes with the trim levels in the lineup. The Badlands will now become the highest trim level that you can buy, whereas a Wild Track is going to be discontinued. This here being the base model, also known as the Big Bend, is going to be returning for the 2025 model year, and the Black Diamond, which was then the base model trim for the Bronco in 2024, is now going to be available as a package for the Big Bend trim level. But other than that, this one here is pretty well equipped for what it has, and of course it has a 2.3-liter turbocharged EcoBoost 4-cylinder. With that being said, a huge thank you to Bob Thomas Ford, which is a part of the Thomas Auto Group here in McKinney, Texas, for giving me some time with this one today. And so, without further ado, let's go ahead and let's get started. As you can see on the key, it's going to be your traditional Ford key, and it feels very nice in your hands. You have the Bronco emblem on this side, followed by your usual buttons on this side, and they consist of your lock, unlock, remote start, and your panic button. To remote start this vehicle, just make sure the vehicle is locked, and double click the remote start button twice. And as you can hear, the engine is now running. And when you're finished, just double click the remote start button again, and it'll shut itself off from there. Starting off here in the front of the vehicle, as you can see, it does look really nice. You have Bronco spelled out across the grille here, which is very cool looking. And you can see the differences between a Big Bend and, let's say, an Outer Banks or even a Badlands is that this is going to be kind of like in a plastic finish, whereas the Badlands and the Outer Banks are going to be in the gloss black, higher quality finish. But overall, this one does look pretty nice still. You do have your standard LED daytime running lights right here with your xenon projector headlamps on this one. And overall, it does look really cool. Come over here and check out your wheels and tires. We're taking a look at a set of Bridgestone Dueler all-terrains, and these are on 18-inch wheels, if I can find the tire size here. These are actually 17s, not 18s, and these measure 255, 75 R17s all the way around. Coming over to the door, this vehicle does have a smart key access system, allowing for easy access to the exterior as well as the interior. Coming up to the door handle, as you can see, there's a touch sensor inside. Just put your hand in, and the vehicle will indicate unlocking on you to jump on inside of the vehicle. And when you're finished, close it up, tap the button here, and one beep will indicate that the vehicle is locked. The exterior color of this one is finished off in ruby red, with the Black Onyx leather interior. Coming over to the door panel, as you can see, you're going to have hard touch plastic material on top. However, you have some softer material down here. You have an aluminum door handle, your unlock and lock switches, as well as a little storage area here right inside, as you can see. Along with the smart key access system, the Ford Bronco does come standard with push-button ignition. By having the key fob in your pocket or within the vehicle, just put your foot on the brake and hit the button to go. Very nice. The Ford Bronco does come standard with a fully leather-wrapped rack and pinion power steering wheel with controls on the left as well as on the right sides. Left is going to house your cruise control settings here, volume controls for the audio, and to the right side, as you can see here, you're going to have your controls for your seat and track, your buttons here specifically for the instrument cluster, as well as your hands-free voice and telephone controls. Coming up here, like I said, we are welcomed with a brand new 12.3-inch instrument cluster display for 2025, and it does look really, really nice to check out, especially in this base model. To the left, you're going to have your tachometer. To the right, you're going to have your speedometer. On top, you're going to have your coolant temperature, as well as your fuel range, as well as your range to empty. Coming down below, you're going to have your gear selector, your compass, your audio system, your exterior temperature, as well as your odometer reading right there. With that being said, we can select and kind of go through a couple of different screens here on the display via the steering wheel. And we're going to click OK off our seatbelt indicator, which brings us to our main menu and consists of your My View, trip and fuel, Bronco information, navigation, phone, audio, as well as settings. And when you come to your My View, let's say, for example, you have your off-road status, trip 1 information, calm view, your fuel economy average, as well as driver assistance, and to configure your My View system. Coming over here, we're taking a look at a 12-inch productivity display, which is very nice to see. And in a lot of Ford videos that I've done in the past, as well as within the last couple of weeks, I've talked and covered the system, so I will do it yet again in the Ford Bronco here for 2025, because although it hasn't really changed all that much, to me, visually, it does look a little bigger, but it really isn't. So first and foremost, as you can see here, we're taking a look at a 12-inch productivity display, and it is very nice. You're going to have your audio playing right now as far as what's on the radio. You have your sources there that you can select from, which includes your AM, FM, and Sirius XM radio. You have your direct tune right up there, as well as your sound adjustments down there. Seat track, and of course you can change your stations manually like this. You have your preset stations down here, as well as your sub-menus down at the very bottom, followed by your shortcuts, which we'll go through towards the end of the infotainment system tour. We now move on to our phone, where you can add a phone to the vehicle or connect to a device that's already in the vehicle. You have your navigation system, which, as you can see, looks very nice and well detailed. You're going to have your little shortcut buttons here, which includes your navigation menu, search, recents, as well as saved destinations. Come over to apps. You have your Find Mobile apps, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, YouTube, as well as mobile apps help. One of the big things for 2025 with Fords is that it's now going to be through an Android-based system, if you will. So that is why you'll see services like YouTube on there, because that's a Google-based service that comes with the vehicle. So even though if you have Android Auto or Apple CarPlay, this is an Android-based system, which is pretty interesting to see as well. Come over to settings. This is going to be a comprehensive list of things you can go through and kind of make it your own, as far as enabling, disabling, and making those necessary changes. You have your radio, phone list, sync navigation, sound, vehicle, clock, general, your display, connectivity, vehicle hotspot, mobile apps, software updates, Ford Assistant, ambient lighting, 911 assist, as well as your valet mode. Starting off with your radio settings, you can check things out such as your FM HD radio, radio text, as well as preset pages. Coming to your vehicle settings, you can check out things such as your 30-minute max idle, key detection alert, or occupant alert, remote start setup, your windows and wiper settings, as well as your lighting and locks. You have your general settings here, which includes your language, temperature, units of measurement, as well as your software information. You do have your clock adjustments that you can see here. You can make your adjustments there, 24-hour mode, as well as auto type update. Sound settings is going to allow you to adjust your tone, your balance and fade, speed, compensated volume, as well as your occupancy mode, as you can see. Come over to our connectivity. That's going to do with your connected vehicle features, your Bluetooth, wireless app projection, as well as your Wi-Fi. Vehicle hotspot. You can turn the vehicle hotspot function on or off, check on your data usage, your settings, manage devices, as well as help. You have your software updates. That will check for any updates that's going to be within the system. You can also set a recurring schedule, as well as any details, providing you information about a specific update. And then you're going to have other things such as your mobile apps. That's going to be kind of like what you'll find on your mobile device as far as your settings and all that's concerned. So let's say we click on that real quick. That's going to allow you to enable your Android apps via USB. So anything that you have on there that's compatible with the system, it will be implemented into the system itself. 911 Assist is going to allow you to have access to law enforcement as well as emergency services if you're involved in a major accident or fender bender. Valet mode is going to lock certain functions of the vehicle, so that when a valet cannot access those features unless you get the vehicle back from that valet, and then once that's done, you can disable that valet mode function. Ford Assistant is going to be very interesting because when you click on that, it's going to allow you to make some changes here, which includes your voice command, phone confirmation, and your advanced mode, as well as your wake word. So you can have it to where it listens for the wake word or preferred wake word, as you can see there. And then ambient lighting. This is really cool to see because I didn't even think the base model Big Bend ever even had this in the Broncos. I know the Outer Banks and the Badlands do. So this is really cool to see in the base model. So you can choose from any of the select colors here, and they include teal, orange, blue, red, green, nether blue, and then magenta or purple. And when the vehicle is on at night and you're driving down the road, you're going to have your ambient lighting inside of the vehicle, which is just really cool to see. So stuff like that, you know, is just really cool to see, and also very informational, and that way you can get a better gist and understanding of how the system works. And then features is going to be for things that come within the vehicle itself, which includes driver assistance, your owner's manual, as well as record feedback. Coming to your driver assistance here, we're going to have things such as our lane keeping system, pre-collision assist, blind spot information system, your rear view camera delay, parking aid sensors, cross traffic alert, your driver alert. And any of these you can enable or disable. So let's say you want to disable our blind spot information system, it's going to say that it's off. You want to turn it back on, you do it again, your blind spot information system is back on, as you can see there. And so with that being said, we come back to our audio area. One last thing we are going to go through is a little shortcut here, which does include information such as your navigation, your phone, trip one information, which includes your average fuel economy, elapsed time, miles driven, as well as your miles to empty, your fuel economy average, your pitch and roll information, off-road status, and then back to your navigation system. So with that being said, guys, that's going to wrap it up here for the infotainment system tour here in the 2025 Ford Bronco Big Bend. But before we move any further, this vehicle does come with a 10-speed automatic transmission. You put the vehicle into reverse, and you do get at backup camera with guidance lines, and they do adjust as you turn the wheel. You also have a couple other camera views, or in this case, you have one other camera view, which is going to be your top-down view. With that being said, coming down below that, you're going to have your physical controls for things such as your volume knob and tuning knob, your auto stop start function, so you can track down here, and then you have your your climate control functions here for your dual zone setup here. You have your fan speed right here, rear controls for the AC right there, heated seats for the front passenger, recycling, positioning, and then your AC control right there. This is where you can charge your device via a USB-C or a regular USB port, and this is where you can put your phone for it to charge. You do have your two cup holders here. You have your goes over any terrain modes, which we'll go through in just a moment. You do have your power window controls here, your child window lock here, as well as your mirror adjustments right there. Your GOAT modes, as you can see here, we're going to that. It's going to give you your normal mode for balanced everyday driving. You have slippery for wet, icy, snowy roads, eco for efficient driving, sport for spirited on-road driving, sand for loose, dry sand, mud/ruts for deep rutted terrain, and then coming over here to your glove compartment, you have a good amount of storage space inside, as you can see. Now, this one here being a base model, it is nice. It's going to get the job done for you at the end of the day as far as the comfort's concerned. This is a synthetic leather, so this is kind of a unique leather per se. It's not really a leatherette, or else it wouldn't feel the way that it does. It does feel very soft, but it doesn't give you any perforations or anything like that, as it is a base model. However, you do have that Princeton Bronco right there, which is very nice. As you can see, you do have some stitching on the sides here, as well as some nice side bolstering. And overall, the seat does look very nice, and it is very comfortable to be in. Come over here to your glove box. You have a good amount of storage space inside, as you can see. With that being said, we have this hard touch material on top of here. You do have controls for your suspension, traction control off, as well as your hazard light button right there. You do have your mirror up here. You do have controls here for your overhead lights, as well as your sunglass holder, as you can see, which is taped off because this is still a new vehicle. You have your visor here with a mirror as well as lighting. And then because this is the hard top, as you can see, you have these clips right here that you can detach on this side as well as on that side. So that way you'll be able to take off the hard top roof and ride and get that open air experience, which is pretty interesting. And as you make your way over here, you do have your headlight controls as well as your gauge dimmer switches. And so with that being said, everyone, let's go ahead and continue the tour of the 2025 Ford Bronco Big Bend. checking out the back seat of the Ford Bronco. As you can see, materials do fall through, which is very nice. And as you can see, as we're back here, we do have some seat pockets, one on this side and one on that side. You do have controls for your mirrors for your windows right here, your rear air vents, and then you have a powered armrest with 2 cup holders. You do have your Easy Fuel capital seal filler, which makes it easier to fill up at the gas station, and an illustration of how to do it. Coming to the back of the Ford Bronco, as you can see, you do have your standard taillights back here, your spare tire, and of course you do have your recovery hook down here, followed of course by your Ford badge right over there. Opening up the cargo area of the vehicle, as you can see, you're welcomed with a generous amount of storage space. And the way you're looking at it right now, you're looking at around 38.2 cubic feet of cargo space, which is not too bad. And you can fold down the seats via the levers on the side, and when you do that, cargo space will then increase to just over 83 cubic feet of cargo space, which is not too bad for a vehicle of this size. And then we open up down here, we do have our towing stuff, a funnel for the gas tank, as well as your front license plate bracket, and a little bit of storage space. Under the hood of the Ford Bronco, we're taking a look at Ford's 2.3-liter turbocharged EcoBoost inline 4-cylinder engine. With regular octane fuel, you'll be getting 275 horsepower and 315 pound-feet of torque. However, if you do put 91 octane or higher, or premium fuel, you'll be getting 300 horsepower and 325 pound-feet of torque. It's going to be made to that 10-speed automatic transmission, and this one is 4-wheel drive. All right, guys, so back in the Ford Bronco, it's a pretty great place to spend time, especially if you're, wanting to take this off the beaten path and have some fun with it. Now, obviously, the very few changes that they made to the Bronco are very nice and welcoming. And overall, I think this is going to continue to be a very popular seller amongst those who are looking for a capable vehicle, or if you're an off-road enthusiast. With that being said, guys, I hope you enjoyed this walk around and tour of the 2025 Ford Bronco Big Bend, finished off here in ruby red with the Black Onyx interior. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.